Hello, friends. We are live for the episode 5 of the Longball Lounge podcast. As you know, I am your host, as usual, Jesse Clark. You can find me on Twitter at jcrockett24, and I am more than pleased to be joined by a special guest on this NFL Draft Eve, Dave Mendelson. So thank you, Dave, for joining me.
Hey, man, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm pumped to talk baseball on a night that's being dominated by football. It's a nice escape.
Absolutely. I'll let you, before we get into everything, kind of just as welcoming opening remarks, I'll kind of let you plug all of your site and everything else you have working right now, and then we can kind of move into the meat and the bones of the program.
Cool. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at dmendio2. All my stuff is usually primarily with triple play. We do baseball, basketball, football. That's the triple play aspect of it. It's all fantasy athlete interviews. We have a website, www.tripplayfantasy.com. We have a lot of writers that do some great work for us there. We list a bunch of all our YouTube videos and stuff there as well. Just kind of the mecca of everything triple play. And then I do a lot of baseball writing for Fantrax as well. So you can catch my work on Fantrax. Right now I'm doing weekly pitching streamers for Fantrax, but the off season was a lot more player deep dives. But if you're looking for my work now, it's strictly been mostly streaming pitchers. So if you like what you're seeing there, hopefully you give me some feedback on that. And I'll keep trying to make sure I'm more accurate and better each and every week for you guys.
Oh, that's a hard task to ask. Yeah. So I wouldn't beat yourself up too much on that. Okay. Well, without further ado, before we get into the get to know you section, I want to make everyone aware of the bottom of the screen. We do have Longball Lounge apparel. If I was a smart businessman, I would have already had my shirt through the washer and the dryer, but it's stuck, so I do not have it on me this evening. But you can find it over at the website down below at Teespring. They do a great job there. Pretty simple and pretty clean look there on the logo. And then we also have tumblers as well. Everything's pretty much under $25, so pretty affordable. If you want to support the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. Last but not least, we also have a deal with my bookie. So use promo code USN100 to get basically double your first deposit bonus. Again, USN code 100 for my bookie. All right, let me take a deep breath here because I feel like I'm going to have just one long breath from here on out. The get to know you section to start things is actually pretty fun. So you asked me before we went live here if you should be prepared for anything special. And my answer was no. I would much rather you not be prepared for these sections. So, this is kind of just a personal introduction for the fans to get to know you on a more personal level. All the fans get to see our fantasy opinions constantly, but sometimes it's hard to kind of promote your own personal opinions and things going on through social because you're so worried about plugging all of your work that you're doing. So I wanted to kind of just shoot from the hip here and do a kind of a rapid fire get to know you. So first question, that is your go-to Blizzard flavor.
Wow. I don't have too many times I've had blizzards. I would say if I had to pick one, it's brownie batter. Is that like a popular one? I've had that before, but I'm not usually too much of a blizzard guy.
Okay. I'm a cookies and cream guy myself. So yeah, I'm not a huge sweets guy, but in the summertime, sometimes you want to treat yourself to a little treat. So, let's see what we got next. Next we have, this pretty funny here. Crunchy or creamy peanut butter?
Oh, easy, creamy. I don't like to crunch down on my peanut butter. I want that thing sliding easy on the bread, and when I chew it, it's just all creamy peanut butter goodness. So that was easy for me.
I could not agree with you more. I have had countless debates with my wife who strongly disagrees with me. I never had creamy peanut butter in my entire life until I met my wife. So I just I don't get it either. Like you said, when normally you're not just eating peanut butter, you're either dipping it with something or you're putting it on a sandwich or something. So I'm with you. I kind of just want the creamy aspect of the peanut butter. Oh, somebody else is chiming. Hey, what's up, Monique? She's saying cookies and cream for the win. Yeah, glad you agree, Monique. She hosts our MMA content over at Unwrapped Sports, and she does a great job. So shout out to Monique. All right, so next one, I'm going to try to do a little screen share here. See if you can see this. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right, so you got to pick 3.
Zebra cakes. Twinkies are a little overrated. I feel like everybody would go for that, but I think they're very, very overrated. I'll go zebra cakes. I'll go the oatmeal cream pies, and I'm going the what are they called? The ones on the bottom left, number 7. What are they called again?
Zing Zangs or something like that. Ho-ho. No, they're not ho-hos. They're
I think they are ho-hos actually. Or no, is that number 2?
I thought that was number 2. Yeah,
I think you're right.
That was number 2. I'm not sure. I guess I'll leave it up to the people in the comments. Comment if you guys know what the hell number 7 is, because I forget the name of it. So I would go zebra cakes is definitely up there for me. I think that's probably my top. So I would go 4, 5, and probably like a Nutty Buddy bar at number 9. Those would probably be my choices, I would imagine.
So we got 2 of the same 3. I think we both got good taste.
Yeah, I think we're off to a pretty good start here. All right, last but not least here. Okay, so this is more MLB centric. So if you could change one rule for Major League Baseball going forward, what would you choose?
Could it be to take away a rule that they have now?
Oh, yeah.
Take away the extra inning rule. Or no, actually, you know what? Take away the 7th inning doubleheaders. I hate it.
Oh gosh, we are vastly different angles here, but mine is more of a personal team bias type thing. So the Reds have a terrible bullpen, so I really enjoy these 7-inning games. Anytime I can get them, the Reds seem to thrive in that atmosphere. So I've just enjoyed it from a fan perspective, but I totally get what you're saying. Do you really not like the extra inning rule?
I don't. I understand everybody's like, you can save your bullpens and you can kind of have a quicker winner. That's why I changed it to the 7th inning one. I would like to eliminate the runner on second, just because, again, like I like starting clean. I like the fact that baseball can go into a 21 inning marathon. Even if you don't want to watch the game, you can watch the highlights. You can see things go on. And I know, again, it's like for the better part of the game, for the better part of 162 games, you can't have your bullpen being taxed like that. You can't have guys risking injury. The swing rates are up astronomically in extra innings because everybody's just trying to end the game. So I get that. But I'm a purist in some ways, and then other ways I'm not. That's one of the ways I kind of wish they just left it alone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really conflicted on the extra inning rule. I really am, because it does really get that adrenaline pumping when your favorite team is going on the mound and having to shut down an inning. I mean, I get it. It can also go the other way pretty quickly. All it takes is one single to break open the game and end it. So, but man, it is really interesting and pretty fun to watch, in my opinion, that extra inning rule. So I'm not totally against it. I think I'm more passionate about the DH, the universal DH. I think more than anything, from something that can actually change. Now, if I wanted to go off the wall here, I'll kind of mention something I actually mentioned in the podcast last week. Just kind of ties in here. The more I think about it, I do not love the rule that somebody can swing at a third strike and it gets past the catcher and they go to first. Like, why are we rewarding a guy that swung at a terrible pitch in the dirt and he just gets to take a free base because the pitcher, just because he's not disciplined at the plate. So I get the counter argument that, hey, if you're a catcher, you should be able to block it, and maybe you should be punished in that aspect. But to me, I just don't like rewarding hitters for swinging at bad pitches and being able to get to first base. You know, if you're a pitcher, you strike them out, you should get the out, I feel like.
Let me ask you this, we're talking about rules. If I were to put up 5 videos and one of them was someone balking, would you be able to pick it out?
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that rule either, unless it's pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I saw one the other day with the Orioles and Yankees game, and I literally was like, I can't even, like, it's like the slightest little thing, and sometimes I don't even see it when I see it, and I'm just like, I think it's one of those things that's like interpretation. You're like, oh, like they were doing something, but in reality they're not. And I to ward everybody an extra base, if you have second and third and you have a runner scoring and then a guy going to third with one out, you can sacrifice fly him, and that's basically giving up 2 runs on that one little thing. That part I would like. I don't know if giving an extra base or whatever, maybe like the batter that's up gets an extra ball added to there. I don't know, but like I don't like giving everybody a base for something like that.
Maybe even a warning as well. I mean,
Yeah.
why aren't those given? It's just like the other thing is, on the other side of things, there are some pitchers that just I feel like they're constantly moving, and just because they're wind up and they're pitching from the stretch, just because it is consistent, doesn't mean that like what they're doing isn't just as distracting to the hitter as a balk is. So I feel like you could really, if you really wanted to nitpick, you could probably give a lot more of those. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I never really thought of it in too great a detail, but it is a rule that's definitely needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, let's move on to our next topic. We're going to play a nice little game here. So it's called Who Am I? So I'm going to give you one starting pitcher, and I'm going to give you one hitter, and I'm going to start reading some stats. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. I tried to pick some out what I thought were outliers, and maybe that would help you put the pieces together a bit. And obviously I'm not this is the first time I've actually done this segment. So, you know, it's not like you're competing against a historic track record or anything like that. So no pressure here, just a little fun. So the first guy on our list is a starting pitcher, like I mentioned. He is 0-2 with a 6.23 ERA, but that is he has one of the largest discrepancies in his ERA and xERA. His xERA is all the way down at 2.96. He's got 21 Ks in 17 innings, has a career high 28.4 K percentage, a career low 2.7 walk percentage, hasn't thrown more than 5 innings pitched in any start. He's got a career high whiff percentage at 25.2 and a career best Z contact percentage, so zone contact, 81.7%. So I chose this guy for a reason, because I think he is a candidate for a positive regression in the short term and long term. But again, he's got a 6.23 ERA. He's 0-2, hasn't pitched any more than 5 innings in any start. But those underlying metrics seem to be a little bit better than what are indicated. You have any guesses?
So I'm really bad at these type of games, so I hope I don't look too super bad. First guy that came to my mind for regression that I don't know if he's pitched more is Luis Castillo. I mean, maybe not him.
It's not him. That would actually have been a pretty fitting guess, given the fact that I'm a Reds fan. That was actually probably would have been a slam dunk if I would have thought about it more. This guy is an AL pitcher, and This is the first time he is pitching in the AL. So he's on a new team.
Hold on. Is it? Well, actually, I might get this now that you gave me that hint. Is it? Oh my God, I Head on the tip
If I
of
had
my
a drum roll sound effect, I would give it.
He was from the NL last year. He's in the AL this year.
Yeah, he was in the NL his entire career until this year.
Is it God, I'm completely drawing a blank. Do you have another hint?
Without giving it away.
What division is it?
AL East.
All right, that will help. Nick Pivetta.
No. I'll give you one more and then I'll show you. Unless you just want me to show you now.
I'll give you one more. It is Steven Matz has won games, so it's not him.
Yep.
I don't think it's. I think Tanner Roark was in the American League last year, if I'm mistaken. I'll just say, I'll say Tanner Roark.
It's not Tanner Roark. Here's who it is.
I'm gonna kick myself as soon as I see it.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Oh, Jameson Tyone.
Yep.
Oh, that hurts.
That's the winner. So just to kind of dig in a little bit more here, I thought this would be pretty interesting. So obviously you can kind of see his percentile rankings are a lot red. The other things that kind of stuck out to me, other than what we already mentioned, is it seems like he's getting hit hard when he's leaving it over the plate, obviously. And I still think he can adjust some things with his pitch mix. Like this year, he's throwing 50.6% of four-seamers, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like back in 2019, his last season that he pitched 27.2. His highest pitch was the slider at 31.9, which I thought was actually a pretty good pitch. And he's ticked that down a notch. Now he did abandon the sinker, but he's up a little bit on the curveball, which is actually very good. I think he should be throwing that pitch more. And then he's only at like a 1.3% on the changeup. So, I don't know. I guess we could probably dig into his game logs. I wonder how many games he's actually played at Yankee Stadium.
Well, so there's this too. I remember hearing this offseason. He ditched the sinker because that was what they drilled in Pittsburgh. And that was the first thing they were doing was they said, don't throw this anymore. It's not effective. Yeah. It's the Pittsburgh philosophy to go sinkers. But right now, what's showing a lot of success is you throw fastballs up and you throw breaking balls down. And just to change the hitter eye level, they call it the Blake Snell blueprint. So that's how Blake Snell started finding success. And that's kind of, again, first thing, ditching that sinker. The second thing is he changed his delivery, like his arm slot. And I think that's strictly because from his two TJs, that he just was hurting so much.
Yeah. And
I remember hearing that he basically kind of had to rework his mechanics just to find a way that it wasn't bothering him as much. He kind of had to change that arm slot and everything. So that might tie into why the pitch mix is also a little different as far as him not going the slider or him going the slider more. But the fastball is obviously a little higher up on there. I think it all kind of just ties into just him trying to do the Yankees philosophy too. If you remember with Sonny Gray, I think they did something similar as well. So you have a mix of probably a Yankees philosophy of how they want him to go. You also have a mix of him trying to kind of rework himself with his new mechanics and kind of, I think, get a feel for having not pitched so long. So I think, like you said, all these expected stats of having him lower, this is a great opportunity to be able to buy low on him, because I think barring injury, he's probably a guy that's a lot better than what you've seen so far.
Yeah, and the other thing is, the reason his ERA is so high for those that, don't pay as close of attention as you and I do. If you're not going deep in games, 5 innings max, I mean, he's 4 and 2/3, 3 and 2/3, 4 innings. I mean, you give up a couple runs there and your ERA is not looking the greatest. So that's probably also a little bit of it. And they probably are easing him in a bit, I would imagine, coming off the injury and everything else. So, you kind of just expect him to maybe go deeper in games later on as the season progresses as well. So just some things to kind of consider here. This
he also has a 348 BABIP, and the last 2 years he pitched in Pittsburgh, he was 298 and 263.
That's great. That's great. The one thing that's sticking out to me is like his ground ball percentage is 16 points lower than it was in 2019. His career norm is 49%. He's down at 34%, and he's 32% fly ball percentage. So my guess would be that his home run to fly ball percentage is pretty high as well, because I know he's given up like 4 or 5 homers already. So I wonder if there's some positive regression coming there as well.
It's his home run to fly ball is over 2 right now. And in the last few years in Pittsburgh, this was from 2017 to 2019, it was 0.74, 0.94, 0.96. So it's more than double what he's had the last 3 years he pitched in Pittsburgh. So is that the Yankee ballpark? Is that just something that's going on with him personally? It's probably a mixture of both. But like you were saying, I think all that's tying into his xERA, and his FIP is 4.182, which also, again, is a significant regression from his ERA.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Jameson Taillon is actually a very good positive regression candidate. And especially given the fact that he wasn't super highly touted this offseason. He was a guy in the past that was highly touted, but the steam had kind of died off a little bit and he started slow. So I bet you can probably, especially in a lot of your home leagues, you can probably, get this guy for a very cheap price and be able to kind of boost your pitching if you need it. So just wanted to kind of throw out him. The more I dug into him, the more I was pretty interested in his profile. So next guy is a hitter. He was thought of in the offseason as, and he still probably is to this day, like a true 25-25 threat. He's got a career low K percentage at 18 and a career low walk percentage at 4%. He's in the 86th percentile in X slugging, but he's got a 187 average right now. But if you compare that to his XBA is a 292, so almost 100-point difference on the average in XBA. He's also got a 222 OBP, which is super low, but a 372 xWOBA. So some potentially positive regression going there as well for plate discipline metrics. Then he's got 5 homers and 2 stolen bases on the year. He is an AL player. He's a young guy. He is, I think he's thought of pretty highly in the fantasy community. I would say, I don't know his exact ADP off the top of my head, but I would guess was somewhere in the 4 to 6 round range.
You said he was a 25-25 guy?
Yep. Hey, our boy, while we have some dead space here, our boy
Carlos,
how
my
you
guy.
doing?
Is it Byron Buxton?
Ooh, no, it's not him. Buxton is just smashing the cover off the ball right now. It's crazy.
Oh, you did say he was. You did say he was underperforming.
He's got he's got a 192 batting average right now, and a 222 OBP. He does have 5 homers and 2 stolen bases, so he's got that going for him. But he really just, for whatever reason, the average isn't there, and the on base percentage isn't there. In fact, when I look at his metrics here, I mean, his walk percentage is the 14th percentile, so maybe some of that OBP is deserved. But the K percentage is 74 percentile, whiff percentage is 81 percentile, so you would think maybe his batting average wouldn't be as low. He's 24, again, super young guy, thought of very highly. He plays, this would totally give it away.
Tim Anderson?
No, not Tim Anderson. I'll give you one more guess. He plays, I don't want to give away this hint because this would be just giving it to you.
The division will give it to me.
Not the division, but if I gave you the hint I was thinking about giving you, it would definitely give it away. The division is AL West.
4 to 6 round range. Going in my head here. Is it? Oh, Kyle Tucker?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Nice guess. Yep, here he is. So I personally loved Kyle Tucker coming into the season, but I think Carlos is on my first episode, and we went over like our FOMO players, and he was one of mine because I didn't draft him anywhere. And I think it was mostly because I just thought he was maybe being drafted a tad bit too high. I love the skills and everything, but just without the proven track record and everything else, it's really hard to pay the steep price that he had. Do you have any Kyle Tucker shares?
I actually don't, and that's only strictly because I think I did 10 leagues this year, and I think it was like 7 out of the 10 I had one of the back end picks, like one of the back 1 or 2 picks, and at that spot, unless I took him at the turn in round 2, he wasn't coming back to me ever. The closest I think he got in like TGFBI, I think he got taken like 2 or 3 picks before my 3rd round pick. So it was just kind of I was never really at the point to draft him just in a lot of leagues I was in. I did actually put out a tweet, and I'm trying to dig it up now. That he was one of the top 5 people that was should come up here.
Like discrepancies between batting average.
Here we go. Notable batting average XBA differences. He was actually one of the top 5 guys in the league as far as his BA and XBA differences. This was as of April 26th, so 3 days ago. He had a 181 batting average, but his expected batting average was 292. Again, that was as far as relevant players, that was the second biggest difference behind Ozzy Albies.
I think it might even be higher now because his real average is 187 and his XBA I'm seeing is 293. So yeah, he's I mean, he's the hard hit percentage is at 46.1. I mean, it's hard not to like his profile. And he hasn't stolen much yet. Like that, could be some positive regression as far as stolen bases go as well. His ground ball, fly ball, line drive rates all look pretty good. He's not. Oh, this is weird. So 47% the last couple years on pull percentage. He's only down. He's down to 27% this year. Wonder if that's why he's not hitting for as high of an average and he's not doing as much damage because he's not pulling as many pitches.
His ISO is really far down too, which is a really good power metric. It's down to under 200 and it's at 198 right now. K percentage is actually down. Walk percentage is down as well, but is again one of the things that shows that can show positive or negative regression. BABIP, it's at 169 right now with balls in play. When 2019 326, 2020 303. I'm looking at his WRC plus right now 71. That definitely can hopefully get a little bit higher. I mean, I think he'll be fine. My brother that was his number 1 fade was Kyle Tucker, so he's been taking his victory laps about that. He said I'm not using a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick on him. But I do think there are better days ahead for him. He's in a stacked lineup, so he's going to have chances to drive in runs in the middle of that lineup. And again, whether it's the BABIP, that's going to hopefully positively regress. I'm looking at his swing rates too right now.
Maybe he was pressing a little bit more too with all those guys being out for COVID issues. Maybe he was trying to do too much. I don't know. I'm kind of just theorizing here.
Yeah, I mean his zone percentage, he's getting pitched in the zone a little bit more this year. But zone swing is right around what it's been the last few years. So it's not like he's swinging more in the zone. Let's look at his chase. Chase percentage is up 6% from last year. It's actually a career high right now. Chase contact is up a little bit as well, but not as much as it should be for as much as he's chasing outside the zone.
His zone contact is up a little bit.
Yeah. He looks like he's his meatball percentage down, so he's not swinging as many hittable pitches. Yeah, our meatball swing is up, but the meatball percentage is down. Again, it's one of those things. I think he'll be fine. There's nothing in here that's troubling to me. When I look at his profile, it's more, I think it's just like, hey, things are going to regress back to what they should be. I don't see anything in his profile. Again, the ground ball percentage is extremely low. Line drive rate is a little low right now, but I think that will bump up as well. Again, if someone's trying to sell low on him, then jump all over that because he'll be fine.
Yeah, these are the kind of guys that I really like going after that were just, a month ago were going, probably, I don't know, 2 to 4 rounds higher than what they would if we drafted again today.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the guy's not willing to, even if, the owner's a savvy league mate, he won't sell him for pennies, but he will probably still sell him a lot cheaper than what he, would have before the season started. So these are the kind of guys that I like to jump on earlier in the season, because as these numbers start to normalize a little bit, then you kind of miss out on your opportunity,
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
All right. Well, that does it for the Who Am I section. Let's move on to our weekend streamers. So again, this can kind of be either starting pitchers or some position players that maybe we think have some good matchups coming up this weekend and can be exploited, and maybe to go out there and bid and fab if your fab waiver period runs. My main home league actually runs like Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning. So tonight's my last night to kind of put in some fab money if I want to spend on some of these guys. So I'll let you start, see, maybe a couple guys you had in mind, and see if we are kind of thinking on the same path here.
I wish I had some hitters in here. I haven't looked at hitting streamers for the weekend. But I actually just finished up my weekend, or my article for Fantrax for streamers for next week and this weekend. My top choice for Saturday is Rich Hill. And again, I don't know what your threshold is, but I try to do 50% and under, usually according to Fantasy Pros. They have a great link for that as far as rostership and all that. And Rich Hill was mine. He's 4% owned going against Houston. And I know Houston necessarily isn't the best matchup. And you look kind of on the surface, he has 7.22 ERA and not looking like someone you would want to stream. But what really intrigues me is if you look at his last start, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and 10 strikeouts. And looking kind of more under the hood on that, he started throwing his cutter for the first time this year. And he actually used it 9% of the time in that start. And if that curveball already has great numbers to it. If he mixes in that cutter and has a third pitch that he can use consistently with the curveball, I think there's something there as far as a good strikeout rate. And we already know Rich Hill can be efficient. He's not going to, go out there and throw complete games, but Rich Hill can give you 5 or 6 innings with, more than a strikeout per 9, and he limits hard contact pretty well. So I'm very intrigued with him on Saturday. Sunday, Adam Wainwright, he's 31% rostered at Pittsburgh. Already you see Pittsburgh, and it's already something that catches your eye. Pittsburgh is ranked in the bottom 10 in the teams in the league in terms of WRC plus and ISO against right-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. And you have a red-hot Adam Wainwright who's coming off a complete game loss. And over his last 16 innings, which is 2 starts, he's given up 11 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, and 16 strikeouts. A lot of this is credit to his approach that he started in 2020, where he went heavier on the breaking and off-speed pitches rather than the fastball. If you start looking in his 2020 numbers, that's kind of when he was actually pretty good last year. And they call it the old man approach, when my fastball, hey, it's not fast enough to be my primary pitch, so I'm just going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, and you're just going to have to guess. So he already has a divisional foe that he's going to be pumped to face against. And Pittsburgh, again, like I said, is obviously not a team that you're scared of. So those are my top 2 picks if I had to pick one for each day. If I'm just like looking on the list of streamers for the Taijuan Walker at Philly is like okay, but not like my top choice. Jameson Taillon, we talked about him. He's going to be against Detroit at home.
Yep.
He would be another guy that I really like.
Yep, he's on my list. There's one other guy on my list that we haven't discussed yet.
Who's the guy that you have?
Griffin Canning.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is due for some positive regression here. If I had him up and on the screen, I could show you guys, but I've looked at him pretty extensively lately because I'm actually trying to acquire him in a trade in my home league. So I did a little bit of research on him. He is due for quite a bit of positive regression coming up. He is getting hit hard, but he is facing Seattle as well, and they obviously can be susceptible to some strikeouts and so I kind of like Griffin Canning. His issue, pretty similar to Tyon, is he's just not going deep into games. So, his ERA and whip and everything can be pretty effective. But I do like him on Saturday as well. So Tyon and Canning were my two top guys. Rich Hill, I'm pretty interested that you said that because I looked at him as well. He's actually available in my home league. I wanted to bid on him because I noticed a lot of the positive regression type of metrics that you did as well. But then I saw that Houston matchup and I got so scared and I'm like, do I want to pick him up now and just kind of ride him on the bench? Do I want to pick him up and stream him? Do I want to just wait it out? Maybe he gets rocked by Houston and whoever does pick him up, or if he doesn't, he'll still be available, but whoever does pick him up, maybe they drop him. I don't know. So I was kind of debating back and forth on what to do there. Believe it or not, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud and admitting this to the public, but I was somewhat considering the idea of streaming Mike Fiers tomorrow against Baltimore, but I don't like him at all. It's kind of just a matchup play, but those are kind of the guys I was thinking from a pitcher perspective. From the hitter side of things, I'll just kind of list some games that I'm pretty interested in this weekend. So Atlanta plays at Toronto this weekend. Well,
a lot of offense in that.
In Florida. So that has a lot of offense. You have some guys that are maybe heating up, like an Austin Riley could be available in your league. Probably not, though. A guy like maybe Kirk from the catcher position might be available.
Heredia has been getting playing time for them too. He's been, a lot of people have been using him in DFS. If you're looking for somebody that you could, I'm sure is on the waiver wire in most leagues.
Yeah, for sure. So that series stuck out to me. The other one that stuck out to me is the Cubs are going to Cincinnati this weekend. Man, the Cubs starting rotation this weekend is not looking good. Let me tell you.
Is Davies pitching this weekend?
Yeah, Davies.
Okay, so that works.
Arrieta, Davies, and Trevor Williams for Trevor
Williams has looked good though, recently.
Yeah, but even if I get my two games out of Arrieta and Davies, I think I'm sitting pretty here from the Reds side of things. But the problem with the Reds is, a lot of their players are already picked up. You don't have a whole lot of guys that are going to be filling in. Everyone's coming back healthy. In fact, Moose just came back this week, so he's back. So you won't have to worry about any fill-ins there. Maybe Tyler Naquin's still available and Senzel gets a day off and you can kind of plug him in there. Otherwise, maybe you're in a daily league and you're able to make acquisitions on a daily basis and you can kind of stream whenever Tyler Stevenson gets the chance from the catcher side of things. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, Cincy just isn't a great streaming team because they have a lot of guys that are already picked up. So, Carlos is mentioning, does Cole Irvin pitch during the weekend?
I think he just pitched. I believe he pitched either yesterday or today. Which, if he pitched yesterday, then I guess he'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No, he wouldn't pitch either way.
He's projected for Monday. What I'm seeing right now for the A's is that Bassett's projected, then Jesus Luzardo, then Manaya, then Montas, and then Irvin starting out the beginning of early next week. So maybe he's a guy that, I don't know, you're in a pretty decent matchup who you're facing. Maybe you don't need a guy for this weekend. Maybe you look ahead for the next week's matchup. But the only problem is he does face Toronto, so that's never an offense that you want to go up against.
Right.
Yeah. So other matchups I like this weekend. the Diamondbacks are playing at home against Colorado. Obviously would be much better in Coors Field, but it just seems like I really like a lot of the Diamondbacks streamers. They have a ton of guys like Pavin Smith, Asdrubal Cabrera, maybe Peralta, somebody dropped in your league. I'm not sure. They just have so many streamable type players.
Yeah, I know Cole Calhoun just went out on the IL.
Yeah.
I think Christian Walker's still on the IL. Obviously, Ketel Marte's on the IL. I will say, though, JB Bukoskis, if you haven't heard the name yet, I think he's going to be the closer for Arizona at some point this year. And he's a stud. It's actually my best friend's cousin, JB Bukakus is. So I actually knew of him a couple of years ago. But he throws 95 plus, and he's got he basically is already, they knew right from the start he was going to be a closer. This isn't a guy that ever tried to be a starter. He knew he was going to be a reliever. And that's a guy, it's a deep stash, but especially if you're hurting for saves, he'd be somebody that I would keep an eye on.
Who isn't hurting for saves at this
point?
Right.
If you have the roster spot and you can hold it, it's a deep league. Shallow league, you don't need to worry about it. But if it's a deep league, I would add him on your bench before he goes and gets 2 saves in a week and he goes for $300 in fab.
Yeah, I just added Stalmont for Kansas City, and I got lucky there. I mean, he's had 2 saves here just within the last couple of days, so that's been pretty nice. I did not draft closers very well. I did in the Raz Slam. I got fortunate there, but otherwise, man, I have just been hurting. And typically in home leagues where I can make acquisitions constantly, and some of my home leagues are like head-to-head matchups instead of roto scoring. So anytime I'm not in a roto league, like I kind of just punt closers and stream it throughout the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so last matchup is Boston at Texas. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I still think there's quite a bit of Texas bats out there that might be looming. Willie Calhoun's one. Not a whole lot of people have picked him up.
Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, he's been on fire lately. He's probably, I don't know. Would you say, I don't know if he's better in an average league or an OBP league, because his average and his OBP are both pretty bad.
I would say you only really want him for power right now. I'm not bringing him probably for anything else.
Yeah, and a little bit of speed. He does add that element as well. So those are just kind of the streaming options that I was able to come up with after looking through the matchups. There's not a ton to love this weekend, to be quite honest with you, especially in the pitching front. I think we're really narrowing our options on the pitching front, because there's just, too many bad pitchers going up too many good offenses, and that's not a great recipe. So that pretty much does it for the streamers go. I don't have a whole lot else here left. We're kind of closing in on the draft starting here soon. So I know this is a fantasy baseball podcast, but both of us are deep into the fantasy football realm as well. So, one of the more exciting days of the year, just so much drama. I mean, so much news and rumors and everything else floating around there just today alone. So, it'll be super, super interesting to see what happens in the NFL draft. Very much looking forward to that, but very much also looking forward to the fact that, I have a day off today for the Reds, get to kind of rest my fandom for a day, focus on the NFL draft, and then, big series against the Cubbies this weekend. So, I'm kind of, it's just a weekend full of fun. You kind of have a little bit of baseball, a little bit of football. So, pretty good. I love when things kind of even out there and you don't have all your eggs in a basket, especially when, all we've done over the last 2 months is just agonize over fantasy baseball and figuring out all the craziness from a shortened season. Is it going to carry over to a long season? Should we ignore most of 2020? What should we expect in 2021? So many questions just looming in the background that we didn't have answers for. And so now it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a break for a night for fantasy football. So
I agree.
You have anything else to close here? If not, we can kind of, I guess, again, plug social one last time, and then we can kind of get out of here.
No, I just want to say thanks again for having me. This was real fun. I want to learn what those snack cakes are called because it's been bothering me. But no, I just really appreciate you, man. This was fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Check David out on Twitter. Obviously, you can check me out on Twitter as well. That's where most of our content is going nowadays. I don't really use a whole lot of other social. I mean, I kind of just use everything to feed into the video projects and everything else. Oh, one thing else I wanted to mention before I got out of here, just for those that are still sticking around here. So most of you that are close with me know I actually just got an opportunity recently to start producing these shorter videos, about 10 minutes in length, once a week for a DFS main slate for Number Ball. So wanted to kind of just make you guys aware that the first 2 videos that I've actually posted, Number Ball is a subscription site because they do really good work over there. They actually make their subscribers a ton of money. But for those that are interested, they've posted my first 2 videos for free on their YouTube channel as well. So would greatly appreciate you guys giving that a check out. And if you do, just hit the like button. It helps me out a little bit. And then I've also been working on these short little video projects called Baseball Briefs recently, 2 minutes or less, basically just kind of doing what we did tonight. We talked about the Kyle Tucker and Jamison Tyon potentially breaking out in the future. So I've kind of been doing short videos breaking down some early season failures or success and kind of projecting forward to see what we can expect from those players going forward. So check those out if you haven't already. Otherwise, I'm ready for this draft. So
let's do it.
Yeah. So if you don't have anything else for David, I am Jesse. We are signing out. Thank you guys again for watching this episode 5 of the Longball Lounge podcast. Have a good